The zoo has come to town. Thank you for letting us come in here. Yeah. I'm sorry, man. Yeah. She doesn't want to be on film, guys, so just cut her out of anything. Appreciate that, man. I'll be the American Vice President.
Okay.
Donald Trump's vice presidential pick, J.D. Vance, is finally opening up about last week's disaster of a photo op at a donut shop in Georgia. Now, even he admits that the Trump camp kind of bungled this. Now, before we tell you how he feels now, and honestly, I'm gonna give him credit for just being a normal person and admitting that this was not good. Let's first watch a bit more of that insanely awkward interaction with the shop's employee.
How long have you worked here?
I've been here since the beginning of July.
Okay.
But it's there.
Okay, good. How about you, sir?
Almost 2 years.
Okay, good. Just everything, yeah. I mean, a lot of glazed here, some sprinkled stuff, some of these cinnamon rolls, whatever it's good. How long has this place been around?
About 4 years.
About 4 years? Okay. How long have you been here?
A little over 6 months.
Okay, good.
That's really awkward. And look, part of being a politician is being good at retail politics, being able to talk to normal people. And so if you have trouble with small talk and finding a way to have that small talk evolve into something a little more substantive, don't try to be a politician. You're gonna have a lot of awkward moments like that. But before we get to what he has to say about that interaction, John, what are your thoughts?
I think that after an event like that, you just aren't in politics anymore. I think that's it. I think you tried and then you went into that donut shop and you shouldn't have. That was a bad call and now you're done. You don't do public stuff anymore. And I'm not just saying just in politics. You mostly stay out of the public from now on because that was terrible. Okay. What was he doing, an audit of them? Why, like he was just trying to take down all the numbers. Okay, good, got that, check that off. My spreadsheet is really coming together. It's all coming up, JD. Was that the worst episode of Undercover Boss ever? That was terrible. There's being bad at retail politics, and then there's being bad at being a homo sapiens. That's really bad.
Remember, J.D. Vance was chosen to like appeal to working Americans, especially in the Rust Belt, but just ordinary Americans. Like he's supposed to be the economic populist that helps bolster Donald Trump, but he's been struggling a bit, and he does come across as an Ivy League educated elitist, honestly. But look, to his credit, he is admitting that that was not good, that it was not a great interaction, and that the Trump camp should have maybe taken some steps prior to that interaction, in order to avoid it being as awkward as it was. So he says, I just felt terrible for that woman. We walked in and there's 20 Secret Service agents and there's 15 cameras, and she clearly had not been properly warned and she was terrified, right? I just felt awful for her. So in other words, they just walked into the donut shop and assumed everything's gonna go well, but you don't know if the employees wanna be filmed. Clearly, she did not wanna be filmed. You don't know if the employees just despise Donald Trump, right? And so don't wanna be part of a photo op or a campaign stop meant to help bolster Donald Trump and JD Vance. And so I like that he admitted that, I think it's because we are so used to Donald Trump never apologizing and never admitting that he screwed up. So it's kind of nice that JD Vance is willing to do that in this very specific case, obviously. But he also added that while he enjoys this sort of retail politicking, does he? Both Biden and Trump have engaged in that frequently. I think they're both pretty good at it, but he says that he needs to plan stuff like this a little better. He says, I like to get out there and talk to people, and we want to make sure we're doing it, but definitely make sure that people are at least okay with being on camera, or we're going to walk in and you're going to have a person who has practically a panic attack because she's got 15 cameras in her face. We don't do these scripted events. I don't want to go and do 3 takes of buying Doritos at a Sheetz. So Look, I think there is a point to how cringy it is when these types of photo ops are clearly, obviously scripted and planned, every little detail. But you also, should let the employees know that you guys are doing this, like warn them ahead of time. So if they don't want to be part of it, they can just bow out. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I agree with you there. The team definitely either made a mistake or they, like most Americans, hate his guts and want him to fail. So they purposefully didn't warn the people. But I can't say for sure. I also agree that I feel bad for her, assuming the her we're talking about is Usha. But also, I think you in general, you are being way too kind. See, this is why you have the reputation on the internet as just being a big old softy, okay?
I don't think that's my reputation. I think my reputation is very different.
It's mostly solid. You're giving him credit for like apologizing. That's not, I don't think that's what he's doing. He's apologizing that they felt bad. That's good. I will agree with you. He deserves credit. He didn't apologize for why it was bad. He pointed at his team and said they messed up. And they did mess up, it seems. Also, he was terrible. And he took no credit whatsoever for being literally the most awkward person we've ever seen before on film.
But John, seriously, like you want him to be like, you know what? It's because I'm an awkward SOB and I don't know how to talk to normal people. He's not going to do that. Okay? That
is literally what I want him to do.
Okay, but he's not going to do that.
But it would be honest. Anyway, he could, nobody could have said, I like doing these events. He could have told that lie. And then he could have said, I like it. I really like talking to people, but like she was thrown off. I was thrown off too. And so I certainly didn't make things any better. The whole time I'm just thinking about how it should have been set up differently. Like he could have at least done a little bit of self-deprecating. There was none of that. There was all, no, my producer or whatever effed up. That's why it went badly. No, but why do all of your other public addresses and interviews go badly? Why is it that you've never had a genuine or awesome interaction? Why is it that even amongst Republicans, you're drawing absolutely pathetic crowds everywhere you go? It's because you're not a likable person. And that's not all on your producer.
You're right, John. He should have said all that. He should have gone on camera and said, you know what? I'm just such an unlikable person. It's all my fault.
Hey,
you guys should
I gave him
whip me for it. And no, come on, John. Compare that. By the way, I don't even like JD Vance. JD Vance has said some of the most horrific things about women that like offend me, right? Like, I'm not trying to defend him. However, I'm just trying to juxtapose Donald Trump, who will never admit to any failure whatsoever, to JD Vance, who's like, you know what? We failed here. This was a failure.
That is fair.
Okay. So
you big softy.
There's like a little bit of self-awareness, which is, I guess, nice. It's a little nice, but you want more. Okay, you're greedy, John. That's the problem with you. You're real greedy. You want him to like self-flagellate and everything on the show, on video, which would be entertaining. It would be entertaining. I'll give you that.
2-3 takes of that.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this video, that's because of our members. They make us independent, they make us strong, and they make us honest. Become a member today by hitting the join button below.